My name is Kieran, and 6 months ago I made the biggest mistake of my life. I slept with my boss, Dashel Reed, the most powerful alpha CEO in Seattle. What was supposed to be one passionate night turned into something that would change everything. I'm an omega, and now I'm carrying his child. I ran away pregnant because I couldn't face the truth. How could someone like him ever want someone like me? I was just his quiet librarian, hiding in the shadows while he commanded boardrooms and built empires. The night we were together, I felt something I'd never experienced before. But I convinced myself it was just his rut and my heat. Nothing more. 4 months. I've been hiding in the woods of Oregon, living in a tiny cabin, crafting furniture to survive. Every day, I tell myself I made the right choice. Every night I dream about his touch and wake up hating myself for it. My belly grows bigger, and so does my fear. What happens when this baby comes? What happens if he finds me? I thought I was safe in these remote woods. I thought I could disappear forever. I was wrong. Last night, during the worst thunderstorm I've ever seen, someone knocked on my cabin door. My heart stopped when I heard that familiar voice calling my name through the rain. Dashel found me. The alpha CEO I ran away from is standing outside my door. And there's nowhere left to hide. My secret is about to be exposed. And I have no idea what comes next. Buckle up, get ready, and subscribe for a special surprise tomorrow. The sharp scent of cedar shavings fills my small cabin as I run the plane across another piece of Douglas fir. My hands move automatically. Muscle memory guiding the tool while my mind drifts to places I've spent 6 months trying to forget. The wood curls away in perfect ribbons, each stroke bringing me closer to completing another table that will sell at the farmer's market in the valley below. I pause to wipe sweat from my forehead, my free hand instinctively moving to rest on the curve of my belly. 6 months since I fled Seattle with nothing but a backpack and the growing secret inside me. 6 months since I last saw Dashel Reed's steel gray eyes or felt the overwhelming presence that marked him as one of the most powerful alphas in the city. The baby kicks a gentle flutter that makes me smile despite everything. At least one good thing came from that night. One perfect innocent thing that belongs entirely to me. Thunder rumbles in the distance and I glance toward the single window of my cabin. Dark clouds are gathering over the pine-covered mountains, promising another of Oregon's fierce autumn storms. I should secure the loose shutter before the wind picks up. But my body protests as I stand. 24 years old, and I already feel ancient, carrying this child alone in the wilderness. I set down my tools and stretch, wincing as my lower back complains. The cabin is barely 400 square feet. But it's mine. I found it abandoned 3 months ago, deep enough in the forest that hikers rarely venture this far. The previous owner left behind basic furniture and a wood-burning stove that keeps me warm through the cold mountain nights. My omega instincts should make me crave the safety of a pack, the protection of an alpha. Instead, I found peace in solitude. No one here knows what I am or judges me for the choices I've made. No one whispers about the librarian who got himself knocked up by his boss during a company party. The memory hits me like it always does. Sudden and overwhelming. Dashel's hands in my hair, his mouth claiming mine with a desperation that matched my own. The way he whispered my name like a prayer, like I was something precious instead of just another omega throwing myself at the powerful CEO. For one night, I felt wanted, cherished, loved. Then morning came and reality crashed down. I woke up alone in his penthouse bedroom, hearing him on the phone in the next room talking about damage control and managing the situation. The words cut through me like ice. I was a situation to be managed. Nothing more. I shake my head, forcing the memories away. That's the past. This is my life now. And I've made it work. The furniture I craft sells well enough to cover my basic needs. The cabin provides shelter. The forest gives me the solitude I crave. But lately, that solitude feels different. Threatened. It started 2 weeks ago with small things. Broken branches along the trail that leads to my cabin snapped too cleanly to be from wildlife. The distant sound of an engine echoing through the valley, too powerful to belong to any of the local farmers. Fresh tire tracks in the mud after a rainstorm, leading partway up the mountain before disappearing. Someone is looking for me. My paranoia grows stronger each day. I find myself checking the windows obsessively, listening for sounds that don't belong. When I venture down to the valley for supplies, I keep my hood up and my head down, terrified of being recognized. The baby seems to sense my anxiety, moving restlessly whenever my heart rate spikes. I try to tell myself it's nothing, that I'm just another pregnant omega hiding from the world. And there are thousands like me. But deep down, I know better. There's only one person with the resources and determination to track me to the middle of nowhere. Dashel. The thought of his name sends conflicting emotions through me. Fear because I'm not ready to face him. Longing because despite everything, I still dream about his touch. Anger because he has no right to disrupt the life I've built for myself and my child. Another rumble of thunder. Closer this time. The storm is moving in fast and I need to prepare. I struggle to my feet, one hand supporting my belly as I move toward the door. The wind has picked up, sending pine needles skittering across the small clearing around my cabin. As I step outside to secure the shutter, a new sound reaches my ears. Not thunder this time, but the deep rumble of a powerful engine climbing the mountain road. My blood turns to ice as headlights cut through the growing darkness, growing brighter with each second. I stumble back toward the cab, my heart hammering against my ribs. This is it. After 6 months of hiding, someone has found me. The engine's sound grows louder. Closer until it stops just beyond the tree. A car door slams and I hear footsteps crunching through the fallen leaves. My hands shake as I bolt the cabin door as if that flimsy barrier could keep out an alpha determined to reach me. The baby kicks frantically, responding to my panic. I press both hands to my belly, trying to calm us both. It's okay. I whisper. We're okay. Maybe they'll just go away. But even as I say the words, I know they're not true. The footsteps are getting closer, deliberate and purposeful. Whoever is out there knows exactly where to find me. A knock on the door. Firm and unmistakable. I hold my breath, praying that silence will make them leave. But then a voice cuts through the storm and my entire world tilts on its axis. Kieran. That voice. Deep. Commanding. With the slight roughness that always made my knees weak. The voice that whispered my name in the darkness 6 months ago. That haunted my dreams every night since Dashel. I know you're in there. He continues. And I can hear the exhaustion in his tone. Please. We need to talk. I back away from the door, my hand pressed to my mouth to stifle any sound. How did he find me? How did he track me to this remote corner of Oregon when I've been so careful to stay hidden? Kieran. His voice is closer now. Right outside the door. 6 months. 6 months I've been looking for you. The raw pain in his words makes my chest tighten. He's been searching for me all this time. Not to manage a situation or cover up a scandal, but to find me. The realization shakes me to my core. Rain begins to fall, pattering against the cabin roof. The storm that's been building all evening has finally arrived, and Dashel is standing outside in it. Part of me wants to open the door to let him in from the cold and explain everything. But the larger part, the part that remembers waking up alone and unwanted, keeps me frozen in place. Please, he says again, and his voice breaks slightly. Just let me see you. Let me explain. The desperation in his tone undoes me. Before I can think better of it, I find myself reaching for the door handle. My rational mind screams at me to stop, to stay hidden, to protect myself and my child. But my heart, the traitorous organ that never stopped loving him, overrides everything else. My fingers fumble with the bolt and I pull the door open just as lightning illuminates the sky. Dashel stands on my doorstep, his expensive suit soaked through, his dark hair plastered to his forehead. He looks like he's been through hell. His usual perfect appearance replaced by something wild and desperate. Our eyes meet and time stops. 6 months of separation. Of longing and heartbreak, and unanswered questions hang between us like a physical weight. He's exactly as I remember and completely different. His sharp features marked by exhaustion and something that looks like grief. His gaze drops to my belly and his breath catches. I see the exact moment he realizes what he's seeing. The way his eyes widen and his hands clench at his sides. The secret I've been carrying alone for 6 months is finally exposed. Kieran. My name falls from his lips like a prayer and a curse combined. I try to run. Every instinct I have screams at me to flee, to disappear back into the forest where he can't follow. But my body betrays me. Exhausted from months of stress and the weight of pregnancy. My legs give out and I stumble forward into the storm. Strong arms catch me before I can fall, pulling me against a familiar chest. Dashel's scent wraps around me. That intoxicating blend of cedar and steel that marked him as mine from the moment we first met. His hands are gentle as they steady me. One arm supporting my back while the other instinctively moves to cradle my belly. "You're pregnant," he whispers. And I can't tell if it's a question or a statement. I look up at him, rain streaming down both our faces, and see my own reflection in his storm gray eyes. There's no going back now. No more hiding. No more running. The storm has brought him to me, and there's nowhere left to go but forward. The cabin feels impossibly small with Dashel inside it. His presence fills every corner, making the space that felt like sanctuary for months suddenly seem like a trap. He stands dripping by the door, his expensive suit ruined by the storm. But his eyes never leave me. I can't decide if I want to run again or throw myself into his arms. "You need to get out of those wet clothes," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. It's easier to focus on practical things than the way he's looking at me like I'm something precious he thought he'd lost forever. He nods, but doesn't move. Is it mine? The question hangs between us like a blade. Of course. It's his. There's never been anyone else. Not before him, and certainly not after. But the way he asks like he's bracing for disappointment makes my chest tight with unexpected pain. "Yes," I say simply. Something breaks in his expression. A careful control he's been maintaining since he walked through my door. His knees buckle slightly, and he reaches for the wall to steady himself. "God, Kieran. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I heard you." I snap. Months of suppressed anger, finally finding their voice. The morning after. "You were on the phone talking about damage control and managing the situation." "I was the situation, wasn't I?" His face goes pale. "You don't understand. That call was about something else entirely. A hostile takeover attempt that had been brewing for weeks. It had nothing to do with you." "Then why did I wake up alone?" The words tear from my throat, raw and desperate. "Why did you disappear before I even opened my eyes?" "Because I panicked." His honesty hits me like a physical blow. "Because I've never felt anything like what I felt with you. And it terrified me. I went to my office to clear my head to figure out how to tell you that one night wasn't enough. That I wanted more." I stare at him, my carefully constructed narrative crumbling. "You wanted more?" "I wanted everything." His voice breaks. "I came back to find you gone. No note. No explanation. Just your resignation letter on my assistant's desk in an empty apartment." The baby kicks, responding to my emotional turmoil. I place a protective hand over my belly and Dashel's eyes follow the movement with naked longing. "I thought you regretted it." I whisper. "I thought I was just another Omega throwing myself at the powerful Alpha. My father warned me that men like you don't keep men like me. Your father was wrong." He takes a step closer and I don't back away. "There is no one like you, Kieran. There never has been." Thunder crashes overhead and the lights flicker. The storm is getting worse and I know he can't leave even if he wanted to. We're trapped here together and 6 months of questions demand answers. "How did you find me?" I ask. "I hired investigators. tracked your credit cards until you stopped using them, then followed paper trails and security footage. It took months to piece together your route. And even then, I almost gave up. He runs a hand through his damp hair. A farmer in the valley mentioned a quiet young man who sold furniture at the market. Said he looked like he was carrying the weight of the world. You should have given up. But even as I say it, I know I don't mean it. I couldn't. His voice is raw with exhaustion. I tried to convince myself you were better off without me. That maybe you'd found someone who could give you what you needed. But I couldn't stop thinking about you, about the way you looked at me that night. Like I was someone worth loving. The admission breaks something loose in my chest. I sink into the cabin's only chair, suddenly too tired to keep fighting. I did look at you like that because I did love you. I still do. The confession hangs in the air between us. Too big for this small space. Dashel moves closer, kneeling beside my chair. So we're eye to eye. Then why did you run? Because loving you hurt too much. Tears I've been holding back for months finally spill over. Because I knew you'd get tired of me eventually. And I couldn't bear to wait for that to happen. Better to leave on my own terms than be discarded when you found someone more suitable. His hands cup my face, thumbs brushing away my tears. There is no one more suitable. There's only you. I'm nobody special. I protest. Just a librarian from a broken home. You're Dashel Reed. You could have anyone. I don't want anyone else. His forehead touches mine and I breathe in his familiar scent. I want the man who reads to children at the library on weekends. I want the omega who makes me feel like more than just my net worth or my company's stock price. I want you, Kieran. Only you. The baby chooses that moment to kick strongly enough that Dashel feels it against his hand. His eyes widen with wonder. And he looks at me with such tenderness that my heart threatens to shatter. Can I? He asks, gesturing toward my belly. I nod, not trusting my voice. His hand spreads across the curve of my stomach. And the baby responds with another kick. Dashel laughs. The sound filled with joy and amazement. Hello, little one, he whispers. I'm your dad. The simple words undo me completely. I've spent 6 months preparing to raise this child alone. Building walls around my heart to protect us both. But seeing Dashel's face as he talks to our baby, I realize I've been denying my child the chance to know their father. I'm scared. I admit of what? Of believing this is real. Of letting myself hope that we can actually make this work. His phone buzzes against his pocket and he frowns as he checks it. My security team. They've been tracking my location since I left Seattle. You have a security team? The company requires it. Too many risks in my position. He types a quick response. I told them I'm fine. But they'll keep checking in. The reminder of his world intrudes on our bubble of intimacy. He's not just Dashel in this moment. He's Dashel Reed, CEO of Reed Industries. One of the most powerful men on the West Coast. And I'm still just Kieran, hiding in a cabin in the woods. This is crazy. I say, pulling back slightly. You can't just disappear from your life to play house with me. I'm not playing anything. His voice turns serious. I've been barely functioning for 6 months. My board thinks I'm having a breakdown. Maybe I am. But I know I can't go back to my old life without you in it. The fire crackles in the wood stove, casting dancing shadows on the cabin walls. Outside, the storm rages on, but inside something shifts between us. The anger and hurt that have been driving us apart begin to transform into something else. Something that looks dangerously like hope. I don't know how to be part of your world. I say quietly. Then we'll figure it out together. He stands and extends his hand to me. But first, let me show you how much I've missed you. I take his hand and let him pull me to my feet. He leads me to the small bed in the corner of the cabin. His movements gentle and reverent. When he kisses me, It's nothing like the desperate passion of 6 months ago. This kiss is a promise. A declaration. A coming home. We make love slowly, carefully. With the weight of our confessions and the presence of our child between us. It's different from before. Deeper somehow. When he moves inside me, whispering my name like a prayer, I finally allow myself to believe that maybe, just maybe, this could be real. Afterward, we lie tangled together on the narrow bed, his hand resting protectively over our baby. The storm outside has gentled to a steady rain. And for the first time in months, I feel truly at peace. Come back with me, he whispers against my hair. Let me take care of you both. I want to say yes. Every fiber of my being aches to accept his offer. To step into the life he's painting with his words. But the practical part of my mind, the part that's kept me alive these past months, raises its voice in protest. What about your board? Your company? The media? I'll handle all of that. I should have handled it 6 months ago instead of letting fear make my decisions. His phone buzzes again, more insistently this time. He frowns and checks it. His expression darkening as he reads. What is it? Someone leaked photos to the press. Pictures of me coming up the mountain road. He shows me the screen and my blood runs cold. The headline reads, Billionaire's secret Omega baby in bold letters above a grainy photo of Dashel's car on the forest road. How did they find us so fast? They must have been following the investigation. Or maybe someone in the valley talked. He pulls me closer. His voice fierce with determination. It doesn't matter. This doesn't change anything. But I know it changes everything. The outside world has found us. And our brief moment of peace is over. The real test of whether we can make this work is about to begin. Dashel's penthouse feels like a museum compared to my forest cabin. Everything is pristine, expensive, and utterly intimidating. The floor-to-ceiling windows offer a breathtaking view of Seattle's skyline. But all I can think about is how exposed I feel. How many photographers are down there right now, waiting to catch another glimpse of the billionaire's secret Omega? It's been 3 days since we returned from Oregon, and the media circus hasn't let up. Headlines scream from every newsstand and website. CEO's baby mama revealed. From librarian to lady and Omega's rise, and my personal favorite. Gold digger or true love. The speculation is vicious and endless. You don't have to read those. Dashel says. Entering the living room with a cup of tea. He's been careful to monitor what I see. But I'm not blind to the world outside these walls. They're calling our baby a trap, I say. Setting aside the tablet. They think I got pregnant on purpose to secure a payday. His jaw tightens. My legal team is working on shutting down the worst of it. Defamation suits. Cease and desist orders. You can't sue everyone who has an opinion about us. Watch me try. He sits beside me on the couch. His hand automatically moving to rest on my belly. The baby kicks in response and some of the tension leaves his face. How are you feeling? Any more contractions? I shake my head. The stress of leaving the cabin triggered some false labor pains. But they've settled down since we arrived in Seattle. Still, Dashel hovers like I might shatter at any moment. Dr. Doctor. Chin wants to see you again tomorrow. He continues. Just to make sure everything's progressing normally. Dr. Chin is the city's most exclusive obstetrician. The kind of doctor who charges more for a consultation than I used to make in a month. She's professional and thorough. But I can see the calculation in her eyes when she looks at me. Another Omega who got lucky. Another gold digger who hit the jackpot. The charity gala is tomorrow night, Dashel says carefully. You don't have to come if you're not ready. I've been dreading this event for days. The annual Children's Hospital benefit is one of Seattle's biggest social gatherings. The kind of place where old money mingles with new. Where deals are made over champagne and reputations can be destroyed with a whisper. I should go. I say. Trying to sound more confident than I feel. People need to see that we're together. That this isn't some sordid affair, Kieran. He turns to face me fully. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to prove anything to them. But I do. I can see it in the way his staff looks at me. Polite but distant. I can hear it in the phone calls he takes behind closed doors. His voice tight with frustration as he deals with board members and investors who question his judgment. I'm not just his partner in this world. I'm a liability. The next evening, I stand in front of the bedroom mirror, adjusting my tie for the 5th time. The custom tuxedo fits perfectly, tailored to accommodate my growing belly while still looking elegant. Dashel spared no expense, but I still feel like I'm wearing a costume. You look incredible, he says from the doorway, and the admiration in his voice is genuine. I look like I'm playing dress up. He crosses the room and fixes my tie with practiced ease. You look like exactly what you are. My partner, the father of my child. The man I love. His words should reassure me, but they only highlight how precarious this all feels. Love might be enough in fairy tales, but in the real world, it has to compete with board meetings and stock prices and public opinion. The gala is held at the Four Seasons and the red carpet outside is a gauntlet of photographers and reporters. Dashel's security team creates a buffer, but I can still hear the shouted questions as we make our way inside. Kieran, how does it feel to be carrying the Reed heir? Is it true you're getting a prenup? Any plans for a wedding? The ballroom is a sea of elegant gowns and expensive suits. Seattle's elite gathered to celebrate their own generosity. Dashel guides me through the crowd with a protective hand on my lower back, introducing me to business associates and social figures whose names I'll never remember. This is Kieran, he says to a silver-haired woman dripping in diamonds. My partner. She gives me a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. How lovely. When are you due, dear? February. I answer, my hand instinctively moving to my belly. Oh. Valentine's baby. How romantic. Her tone suggests anything but romance. You must be so excited to join our little community. Before I can ask what she means, she's glided away to terrorize someone else. The interactions continue like this all evening. Surface pleasantries hiding sharp judgment. I'm studied, evaluated, found wanting by people who've never worked a day in their lives. Dashel doesn't leave my side, and I can see the protective tension in his shoulders. When a reporter approaches our table during dinner, he shuts them down with a single look. When his board member, Richard Blackwood, makes a snide comment about modern family values, Dashel's response is ice cold and final. My personal life is not up for discussion, he says. His alpha authority filling the space around our table. I suggest we focus on the hospital's excellent work instead. But I can feel the whispers following us. See the calculating looks and barely concealed speculation. These people have turned our love story into entertainment. Our child into gossip fodder. The breaking point comes when I excuse myself to use the restroom. In the hallway, I overhear Richard Blackwood's wife speaking to another woman in low, vicious tones. It's obvious what happened. She's saying, the little Omega got himself knocked up and now he's set for life. Mark my words, there'll be a convenient miscarriage once the wedding's over and the prenup is signed. But what if the baby's real? The other woman asks. Oh, it's real. But breeding rights can be transferred. Dashel will keep the child and send the Omega back where he belongs. It's how these things work in proper families. The words hit me like physical blows. I lean against the wall, struggling to breathe as my vision blurs. The baby kicks frantically, responding to my distress, and I feel a sharp pain low in my abdomen. Kieran. Dashel's voice cuts through the ringing in my ears. He must have come looking for me when I didn't return. What's wrong? I can't tell him what I heard. Can't repeat those vicious words that paint me as nothing more than a broodmare. Our child is a commodity to be traded. Another pain hits stronger this time, and I double over with a gasp. We need to get you home, he says, his arm supporting me as we make our way toward the exit. Now, the ride back to his penthouse is a blur of pain and panic. The contractions aren't regular, but they're real. And I know in my bones that this toxic environment is hurting our baby. The stress, the judgment, the constant feeling of being under attack, it's all taking its toll. Dr. Chin meets us at the penthouse. Her expression professional but concerned as she examines me. Stress-induced contractions, she confirms. Not unusual at this stage. But we need to monitor closely. Complete bed rest for the next week. After she leaves, Dashel paces the bedroom like a caged animal. This is my fault, he says. I should never have taken you to that event. I should have protected you better. But he can't protect me from his world. That's the truth we're both avoiding. Every public appearance will be like tonight. Every social function a minefield of judgment and speculation. I'm not built for this kind of scrutiny, and our child is already paying the price. Later that night, I lie awake listening to Dashel's steady breathing beside me. His hand rests protectively over our baby. But it's not enough. His love isn't enough to shield us from the reality of who he is and what that means for our future. I heard him earlier on a phone call with his head of security, his voice sharp with anger. I don't care what it costs. He was saying. I want the Kieran situation handled permanently. The words echo in my mind, combining with Mrs. Blackwood's vicious speculation to create a picture I don't want to see. Maybe this was always the plan. Maybe bringing me back to Seattle was just the first step in a larger strategy to secure his heir while removing the inconvenient Omega from the equation. The baby kicks against my ribs, and I place both hands over my belly. Whatever happens between Dashel and me, I won't let our child become a pawn in his world's games. I won't let them reduce us to nothing more than breeding stock and bad publicity. As dawn breaks over Seattle's skyline, I make a decision that breaks my heart, even as it fills me with resolve. I love Dashel. But love isn't enough to overcome the fundamental truth that we come from different worlds. His world will never accept me. And I can't keep putting our child at risk by trying to force myself into a space that was never meant for someone like me. This time, when I run, it will be forever. The distance between Dashel and me grows wider each day. Measured not in feet, but in the careful politeness that has replaced our intimacy. I watch him from across the breakfast table, noting the dark circles under his eyes and the way his jaw tightens when he reads the morning headlines. His company's stock has dropped 15% since our relationship became public. And the board of directors is circling like vultures. The Yamamoto Group is making another move, he says without looking up from his tablet. They're using our situation to question my judgment with investors. Our situation? That's what I've become. A liability wrapped in gentle euphemisms. Maybe you should give them what they want, I say quietly. His head snaps up. What do you mean? Maybe you should distance yourself from me publicly. The words taste like ash in my mouth, but I force them out. Issue a statement about maintaining professional boundaries. Let them think this was just a mistake you're correcting. Absolutely not. His voice carries the full weight of his alpha authority. But I've grown immune to it over the past 2 weeks. I'm not abandoning you, Kieran. But he already has in small ways that cut deeper than any grand gesture of rejection. He takes calls in his office with the door closed. He works late into the night, coming to bed after I'm already asleep. He touches me like I'm made of glass. Careful and distant. Nothing like the desperate passion we shared in the cabin. I'm not asking you to abandon me. I lie. I'm asking you to protect your company. My company means nothing if I lose you. The words should comfort me. But they don't. I can see the strain wearing on him. The way he's being pulled apart by divided loyalties. Every day he chooses me is another day his empire crumbles a little more. I've been making my own preparations in secret. Small withdrawals from the account he set up for me. Just enough to disappear without triggering any alerts. Research into places I could go where no one would think to look for Dashel Reed's Omega. I tell myself it's just contingency planning. But the folder hidden in my nightstand tells a different story. Dr. Chin moved my due date up by 2 weeks after the stress-induced contractions at the gala. That gives me less time than I hoped. But it also means this nightmare will be over sooner. Once the baby is born. Once Dashel has his heir. I can slip away and let him rebuild his life without the complication of an unsuitable omega. The thought of leaving our child behind tears at my soul. But I know it's for the best. What kind of life could I offer a baby on my own? Dashel can give our child everything. The best schools, the finest opportunities. A world of privilege I could never access. All I can offer is love. And sometimes love isn't enough. 3 days before my adjusted due date. Everything falls apart at once. I'm leaving my doctor's appointment when the photographers swarm. They must have been tipped off by someone at the clinic because they're ready. Cameras flashing like strobe lights as they shout questions at me. Kieran, is it true you're demanding $50 million in child support? Are you planning to write a tell-all book? Is Dashel really the father? The questions hit me like physical blows. I try to push through the crowd. But there are too many of them pressing closer with each step. My vision starts to tunnel and I can't catch my breath. The baby kicks frantically, responding to my panic. Please. I gasp. But they don't stop. If anything, the scent of my distress seems to excite them more. A sharp pain rips through my abdomen, doubling me over. The photographers keep shooting, capturing my agony for tomorrow's headlines. Another contraction hits. Stronger than the ones at the gala. And I know with terrifying certainty that this is the real thing. Somehow, Dashel's security team gets through the crowd. Strong hands lift me, carry me to a waiting car. The next few hours are a blur of pain and emergency room chaos. Dashel appears at my side. His face white with terror. Holding my hand as another contraction steals my breath. It's too early. I pant between waves of pain. Dr. Chin says the baby's developed enough. He reassures me. But I can hear the fear in his voice. Everything's going to be fine. But nothing is fine. This isn't how I wanted our child to enter the world. Surrounded by chaos and scandal. The baby is coming 3 weeks early because I couldn't handle the pressure of Dashel's world because I'm too weak to protect what matters most. I can't do this. I say during a brief respite between contractions. I can't be what you need me to be. You're perfect exactly as you are. His hand strokes my sweat-dampened hair. You're the strongest person I know. I'm not strong. The I words come out broken, raw with months of suppressed truth. I'm scared all the time. Scared of your world. Scared of failing you. Scared of raising a child who will be ashamed of their omega father. Our child will never be ashamed of you. Another contraction hits. And this one doesn't stop. Dr. Chin appears. Her team moving with practiced efficiency. It's time, she says. And suddenly everything accelerates. Our daughter enters the world at 3:47 a.m., screaming her outrage at being forced from her warm sanctuary too soon. She's tiny but perfect with Dashel's dark hair and delicate features that mirror my own. When Dr. Chin places her on my chest, I fall in love instantly and completely. She's beautiful. Dashel whispers, his finger tracing her impossibly small hand. Look what we made. For a moment, the three of us exist in a bubble of pure joy. Our daughter roots against my chest, seeking comfort. And I've never felt anything so right in my entire life. But then reality crashes back in and I remember all the reasons why this can't work. You should go. I say. Not looking at him. What? Go back to your company. Save your empire. I'll be fine. Kieran. What are you talking about? I force myself to meet his eyes to deliver the lie that will destroy us both. I never wanted this life. The penthouse. The scrutiny, the pressure. I just wanted my child to be safe. And now she is. You've done your duty as her father. You can leave now. The words hit him like physical blows. I watched something die in his eyes. Watch him retreat behind the cold mask he wore before I knew him. If that's what you want. It is. He stands slowly like an old man. I'll have my lawyers drop custody agreements, financial support. Whatever you need. Thank you. He bends to kiss our daughter's forehead, his hand trembling as he touches her face. I'll always love you both. He whispers. And then he's gone. I hold our baby and cry until I have no tears left. The nurses think it's postpartum hormones. But I know better. I've just destroyed the only real happiness I've ever known because I was too much of a coward to fight for it. The next 2 days pass in a haze of feeding schedules and visitor restrictions. Dashel doesn't come back, though. Flowers arrive with cards signed in his assistant's handwriting. The media has moved on to other scandals. But the damage is done. His stock price has stabilized. The takeover attempt has failed. And Dashel Reed is once again the untouchable CEO of his empire. I've given him what he needed. I should feel satisfied, vindicated in my decision. Instead, I feel hollow, like I've carved out my own heart and handed it to him. On the third night, I sit in the hospital chair holding our daughter, watching her sleep. She has his stubborn chin and my sensitive mouth. A perfect blend of both of us. Looking at her, I finally understand what I've done. I ran from the cabin because I was afraid of being abandoned. I pulled away from Dashel because I was afraid of not being enough. I pushed him away at the hospital because I was afraid of watching him leave eventually. Every choice I've made has been driven by fear. And in trying to protect myself from abandonment, I've created the very thing I was trying to avoid. I've abandoned him. Our daughter stirs in my arms, making soft baby sounds that tug at something primal in my chest. She deserves better than a father who runs from love, who chooses fear over hope. She deserves parents who fight for their family instead of giving up at the first sign of trouble. Maybe it's too late. Maybe I've pushed him too far, hurt him too deeply for forgiveness. But as I look at our perfect daughter, I know I have to try. Not for me, but for her. For the family we could be if I can find the courage to stop running. The question is whether Dashel will give me the chance to prove that this time I'm ready to stay and fight. The news hits me like a sledgehammer to the chest. I'm feeding our daughter when the nurse mentions it casually, her eyes glued to her phone screen. Can you believe it? Dashel Reed is stepping down as CEO. The press conference is in 2 hours. The bottle slips from my numb fingers. Formula splashing across the hospital blanket. Our daughter, who we haven't even named yet because we were supposed to do that together, starts to fuss at the interruption. What? I managed to croak. It's all over the news. Says he's taking responsibility for the recent instability and putting the company first. She looks up at me with sudden realization. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think. But I'm already moving. My mind racing as I gather our baby's things with shaking hands. Dashel is destroying everything he's worked for because of me. Because I made him choose between his empire and his family. And when I pushed him away, he decided neither was worth keeping. I need to go. I tell the nurse. Can you discharge us now? You're not supposed to leave until tomorrow morning. Please. The desperation in my voice must convince her because she nods and goes to find Dr. Chen. 20 minutes later, I'm in a taxi with our daughter strapped into a car seat that the hospital social worker helped me install. My hands shake as I dial Dashel's office. But his assistant informs me that he's in meetings until the press conference. No interruptions. It's about his daughter. I say. His daughter that was born 3 days ago. There's a pause. I'm sorry. Mr. Nakamura. Mr. Reed left specific instructions that he's not to be disturbed. The line goes dead and I stare at my phone in disbelief. He shut me out completely just like I shut him out. The symmetry is devastating. I redirect the taxi to Reed Industries. If he won't take my calls, I'll have to confront him in person. The baby sleeps peacefully in her carrier, unaware that her parents are destroying her future with their stubborn pride and fear. The Reed Industries building towers over downtown Seattle like a monument to Dashel's success. I've never been here before. Never wanted to intrude on his professional space. Now I realize that was part of the problem. I kept myself separate from every aspect of his life, making it easy for him to compartmentalize me as something temporary. Security tries to stop me at the lobby, but I push past them with the desperate strength of a parent protecting their child. The baby's carrier bounces against my hip as I sprint to the elevators, ignoring the shouts behind me. Kieran. A familiar voice calls my name, and I turn to see Marcus Chin, Dashel's head of legal, staring at me in shock. What are you doing here? I need to stop him. I gasp out of breath from running. The press conference. He can't resign. Marcus glances at the baby carrier, his expression softening. Is that his daughter? Our daughter? I shift the carrier so he can see her sleeping face. Please. Marcus. I know I have no right to ask, but I need 5 minutes with him before he destroys everything. Marcus studies me for a long moment, then pulls out his phone. The board meeting is on the 20th floor, conference room A. But Kieran, if you're going to do this, you need to be sure. He's been through hell these past few days. I know. I put him there. The elevator ride to the 20th floor feels endless. I practice what I'm going to say, but every speech sounds inadequate compared to the magnitude of what I need to fix. How do you apologize for breaking someone's heart? How do you ask for forgiveness when you're not sure you deserve it? The conference room doors are heavy glass and through them I can see Dashel at the head of a long table surrounded by board members. He looks like he's aged years in the past 3 days. His face drawn and his shoulders carrying a weight that has nothing to do with corporate responsibility. I take a deep breath, adjust the baby carrier one more time, and push through the doors. The room falls silent as I enter. 12 of Seattle's most powerful business leaders stare at me like I'm an exotic animal that's wandered into their natural habitat. But I only have eyes for Dashel, who's gone white as paper. Kieran. My name falls from his lips like a prayer and an accusation combined. Don't resign. I say, my voice carrying clearly in the sudden silence. Please don't give up everything you've built because of me. Richard Blackwood clears his throat aggressively. This is highly inappropriate. Security should never have allowed. Let him speak. Dashel says quietly, his eyes never leaving mine. I step closer to the table, our daughter stirring in her carrier at the sound of familiar voices. I came here to tell you that you were right about everything, about us. About what we could be together. I was the one who was wrong. Kieran. His voice breaks on my name. I spent so long being afraid of not being enough for you that I never stopped to consider whether you were enough for me. But you are. You're everything I've ever wanted and too much of a coward to reach for. Mrs. Patterson. The only woman on the board leans forward with interest. Young man. While this is very touching, we have important business to discuss. There is no business more important than this. I say, turning to address the room. You want Dashel to resign because you think I'm a liability because an Omega from a poor background doesn't fit your image of what a CEO's partner should be. That's not what this is about. Richard Blackwood protests. But I can see the truth in his eyes. Isn't it? I adjust the baby carrier so they can all see our daughter. You're asking him to choose between his company and his family. But what if he didn't have to choose? What if there was a third option? I look at Dashel, drawing strength from the hope I see flickering in his eyes. What if we built something new? A company that doesn't just tolerate diversity, but celebrates it. Where Omega employees don't have to hide who they are or apologize for their biology. That's a lovely sentiment, Mrs. Patterson says. But our shareholders, your shareholders want profit. I interrupt. Studies show that diverse companies outperform homogeneous ones. You're not protecting your investment by forcing out the best CEO you've ever had. You're sabotaging it. Our daughter chooses that moment to wake up. Her soft cries filling the conference room. I lift her from the carrier and she settles immediately against my chest, her tiny hand gripping my shirt. This is what we're fighting for. I say, my voice growing stronger with each word. Not just our family, but every family like ours. Every omega who's been told they're not enough. Every alpha who's been forced to choose between love and ambition. We have a chance to change things. But only if we're brave enough to stand together. Dashel stands slowly, his chair scraping against the polished floor. The vote was supposed to be unanimous. He says to the board, my resignation in exchange for stability. But I withdraw my resignation. Dashel. Richard warns. Think about what you're doing. I am thinking. He walks around the table until he's standing in front of me, his hand reaching out to touch our daughter's face. I'm thinking that I've spent 3 days in hell because I was too proud to fight for what matters most. I'm thinking that if this board can't support a CEO who puts family first, then maybe it's time for some changes. Our daughter makes a soft sound and turns toward her father's voice. Dashel's breath catches as she grips his finger with startling strength. What's her name? He whispers. I was waiting for you. I say. I thought we should choose together. Cedar. He says without hesitation. Like the trees where we found each other again. Cedar Reed. I test the name and smile. I like it. Mrs. Patterson clears her throat. This is all very heartwarming. But we still have the matter of the company's reputation to consider. Then let's make it a reputation worth having. I say. Dashel doesn't need to hide his family or apologize for loving someone. He needs a board that supports him in building something better. The room erupts in whispered conversations as board members confer among themselves. But I don't care about their politics anymore. All I care about is the man in front of me holding our daughter like she's the most precious thing in the world. I'm sorry. I whisper. The words inadequate but necessary for everything for running. For pushing you away. For making you choose. I'm sorry. Too. He says. For not fighting harder. For letting my world make you feel unwelcome. For giving up on us. Can we try again? Can we do it right this time? Instead of answering with words. He kisses me. Right there in the conference room in front of Seattle's business elite. Dashel Reed kisses the Omega who nearly destroyed his empire and tells the world exactly where his priorities lie. When we break apart. Mrs. Patterson is smiling. Well. She says. I suppose that settles the matter of public perception. If we're going to support this relationship, we might as well do it properly. 6 months later. I stand in the doorway of our forest cabin, watching Dashel attempt to assemble a rocking chair with Cedar strapped to his chest in a carrier. The sight makes me laugh, which makes Cedar giggle, which makes Dashel grin with such pure joy that my heart feels too big for my chest. Need help? I offer. I've got it, he says, though the instruction manual is upside down. This is supposed to be relaxing. MHM. I join him on the cabin floor, spreading out my own plans for a custom toy chest. How's the new initiative going? Better than expected. 3 other Fortune 500 companies have reached out about implementing similar programs. He pauses his construction efforts to look at me. The sustainable furniture line is getting media attention. 2. Good media attention. My business has grown beyond anything I imagined possible. What started as a few handmade pieces sold at farmers markets has become a partnership with Reed Industries' new sustainability division. I design furniture from reclaimed materials and they handle production and distribution. It's the perfect blend of his resources and my vision. Cedar babbles at her father and he responds with equally serious baby talk that makes me fall in love with him all over again. We've learned to communicate our fears instead of hiding from them. To trust each other with our vulnerabilities. It's not always easy, but it's real in a way that feels unshakable. I love you. I say. Apropos of nothing and everything. I love you. Too. He reaches over to squeeze my hand. Careful not to disturb our daughter. Both of you. Outside. The afternoon light filters through the pine trees, casting dancing shadows on the cabin walls. The scent of cedar and steel mingles in the air. Strength and gentleness balanced perfectly. This is what love looks like when you're brave enough to choose it over fear. When you're willing to build something new instead of accepting what already exists. Cedar's laughter echoes through the trees as she discovers her own feat. And I think about how different her world will be from the one we grew up in. She'll know from the beginning that love comes in all forms. That strength isn't about power over others, but power shared with them. The rocking chair is finally taking shape under Dashel's determined hands. And I realize that's what we've been doing all along. Building something beautiful from separate pieces. Creating a foundation strong enough to last a lifetime. And that is all to the story for now. Please let me know where you are tuning in from. Perhaps we will create a story there. Consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. And if you enjoy our content, click this video on your screen. I promise you it's worth watching. See you tomorrow.